Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the Council on Future Conflict. My name is Scott, the proprietor of the Future Conflict channel. Today, we're talking about the American terror and war in Portland. This is episode 571 of the Council on Future Conflicts. Today, I'm joined, as always, by my co-hosts, Joe and Watcher. Joe, how you doing today, brother?
You know what? I've been a little bit better. I'm a little bit sick today, but that's okay. We just finished up a community security ops class. We had some folks here and practiced all of the skills and all of the things that it looks increasingly like you're going to need in the immediate future. And everyone enjoyed it, got right into it, had a fantastic group. So good stuff.
Well, you know, Joe, I swear that we don't manipulate the news in order to sell books and things like that. It's almost like, it's almost like these books could prepare you for something that may very likely come.
It's sad to say, but that's actually true. The book sales do go up when these things happen. I wish folks would be as willing to be prepared when bad things don't happen. Sad.
Yeah, that's a really good point there. And Watcher, how you doing today, brother? That good, huh?
Yeah. Not great. I feel pretty. I wouldn't say like personally affected, as in like I knew somebody there, but I feel pretty personally rattled by what happened on Sunday, and yet again, not just the event, but the response, and from so many people.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those kind of things that we were talking about it before the show. Even if your differences are minor, this is not the time to express your differences. It seems like some people are completely out to lunch when it comes to tact and propriety in how to kind of interact with people in the world. So,
speaking of tact and propriety, CWSP coming in.
Well, that's true. We do have Sibley to do that for us. I mean, and that's it. Why do you need to do any real analysis of the news? You just talk to Sibley and say, "Hey, what's in the next chapter?" And he tells you, and then then there you go. That's what's going to happen. Hey, Joe, it's not like Sibley's ever kind of beat the story by years at a time from time to time.
Right. He is a little bit ahead of the curve. So
hey, just fiction, guys. It's not real. It's just fiction. Speaking of another guy, Mike is also another guy who's his Warlock series really kind of hit some of those key areas that nobody ever heard of when he first mentions it, and then all of a sudden it's big news, like the Zangezur corridor, for instance. That was one that a lot of people hadn't heard of.
Yeah, Zangezur corridor. Yeah.
Anyway, so we've been blessed by knowing a lot of smart guys and being able to learn a lot about the world from them, and so we will continue to keep our eyes out for interesting things. How was your guys' weekend? Anything worth reporting over the weekend, or any good news?
No, just like I said, we had some great folks here hanging out with classes.
How did the classes go, Joe?
Oh, good. We had a couple of brothers in here. We had some other folks in here, and I had some returning students come back to serve as OPFOR. So we had a really, really great job, a great time hanging out together, and good stuff, man. We had a great weekend. Not to mention, we was topped off at the end of the weekend by tactical wifedom making a nice batch of shepherd's pie that everyone really liked. So good stuff.
Yeah, shepherd's pie. That's one of those kind of classics from when I was a kid that I hardly ever see anymore. You know, the
Right.
old. It's basically like beef stew with mashed potatoes baked over the top of it, right? I mean, that's kind of
Yep.
it. I mean, it's a little. That's a little oversimplistic, I think. But the thing that I wanted to ask you guys about before we kind of dive into the odds and ends is, there's a lot of weird stuff that kind of popped up on the internet over the weekend. Joe, we were talking about one of these things. It's just this kind of like. So my daughter has a saying, and she says, "Dad, that gives me the ick," right? Like,
Yeah.
like something's icky, right? Gives me the ick. And so, and I gotta say, this new kid who's I don't think he's the heir apparent at Turning Point, but he is definitely one of their kind of public faces. He ain't hitting on all cylinders for me, Joe. I mean, there's just something about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't even. What's his name? I don't even know his name. I feel bad that I don't know his name. Maybe I don't need to know his name.
Maybe that's the best way to be, right?
I think you really need to know his name. But anyway, yeah. I mean, like I feel like Charlie like crawled from out of nowhere, right? And he earned every one of his viewers like one at a time, and we got to know him over a long period of time, and that's how he grew that audience very organically. We all kind of had anybody who's watched more than a couple of his videos, had a connection on some level with him, and like this kid, like I don't get it. He's too young. Charlie, while much younger than me, he was a mature man, right? He was like a full-grown mature man with everything he had going on for him. Whereas this kid just literally seems like a 16-year-old that's a little light in the loafers. And I have no idea what his opinions are. So it's kind of like, this is not based on anything other than very short clips. Anyway, I wasn't a fan. And it seems like a lot of people from our kind of neck of the Twitter space are not either.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess there's nothing else really to talk about. Let's jump right into the odds and ends.
Let's do that.
IDF controls over half of Gaza City as 800,000 residents flee the area. Did you guys hear that Donald Trump's got his 21-point plan for Gaza, for like basically and there's a Hamas signs on and a Hamas doesn't sign on version.
Well,
so
Hamas is gonna have a hard time signing on since all the dudes who would sign that contract are dead.
Are getting shellacked. That's exactly right. I mean, it could be, it could be Mohammed number 7 is the guy who ends up signing it. This is a story from the Jerusalem Post. In recent days, the IDF has expanded the scope of strikes across Gaza City, targeting more than 140 sites each night, as more than 800,000 of 1 million residents have evacuated the city. The IDF has gained operational control of more than half of Gaza City as of Saturday. So that's in 2 weeks since their assault. They've gained essentially half the city, and most of the population have fled. Sources in the Southern Command told Walla that the IDF's territorial gains resulted from coordinated maneuvers at multiple points by various divisions as part of Operations Gideon's Chariots 2. You got to admit that's a pretty good
name, yeah.
Gideon's Chariots. In recent days, the IDF has expanded the scope of strikes across Gaza City, targeting more than 140 sites each night. The sources further stated that the IDF now controls several neighborhoods within the city. The IDF now controls in the southwest in Tel Al-Hawa, The IDF has operated in the neighborhood from the air and ground multiple times during the war, despite military efforts. Hamas has rebuilt the terror infrastructure there. And this area is mostly comprised of low-rise buildings. So that means there's just not as much to blow up as you had where the high-rises are. And believe it or not, Joe, there are still high-rises. If you take a look at this first image, it's the image right there on the screen. There's still like some high-rises in Gaza City, which is kind of a shock.
Not really, because they're not actually pounding the town to rubble.
But, well, you know, okay. I just assume Hamas was using all those kind of high rises because they tend to have the deeper basements. You know what I mean? So like they're literally like a built-in bomb shelter.
Yeah.
Lastly, in northeastern Gaza City, Tufa has been a focus of long-term operations. Among Gaza City neighborhoods not yet under IDF control is Al Ramil. Ramal, it's become home to Gaza's elite and senior Hamas figures. The area is considered the city's heart, hosting decades of banking infrastructure. And so it looks like we're coming to the end on this thing, whether Hamas wants to or not. And this peace plan that Donald Trump put forward, really, I think the only thing that kind of was interesting to me was it was very much Israel will not annex Gaza. Gaza will stay separate, and that the Palestinians that are basically not Hamas would basically be able to take it over again, but it would be administered by the Israelis and the international coalition of countries until the Palestinians could take it over again. Another interesting point in the 21 points was there had to be like education with the people of Gaza so they could learn basically like right and wrong when it comes to like this is not okay, right? It's like these are things that you and I take for granted, but definitely something that they need to learn in Gaza, even if they're not Hamas.
Yeah, some things are not difficult to learn, right? Maybe don't support terrorists and bad things won't happen to you. I don't know.
Yeah. Heaven forbid that you don't support terrorists. This
sounds like a little bit like a dystopian nightmare. I'm expecting to see a giant robot walk through it or something. Alien spacecraft. Who knows?
Well, that's funny you should mention that, Joe. This is probably the most devastated large city in modern times, maybe since, I don't know, some of the cities in Vietnam were really devastated. Grozny was pretty fucked up. When all was said and done, though I don't think it was this bad.
Nagasaki have entered the chat.
Well, I was thinking since World War II though, and some post-war. Seoul was pretty bad.
I was gonna say Stalingrad, but yeah, again, you're saying post. So
yeah. I mean, clearly most of the cities that were fought over were rubbled in World War II. I'll be honest with you, Joe. I mean, like having seen Fallujah before, during, and after the second Fallujah, I didn't feel like it was like completely destroyed, but I mean, it was it was pretty tough. They were firing 155 in there pretty frequently.
Let me just say, perhaps this is my personal opinion speaking, but maybe it should have been.
Yeah, I mean, we literally told all the people to get out of, and it was basically a free fire zone. So
if you remain, you will be declared hostile. Okay.
Yeah, and that's how you got to do that shit sometimes. Any other kind of thoughts on what appears to be kind of the final days of Gaza?
No, just that hey, maybe you should stop supporting terrorists and these bad things won't happen to you. Or maybe you root them out yourselves. You decide to take charge of your own community. God forbid you stand up on your own two legs and stay enough.
Yeah, I mean, the only downside is I feel like, Israel can do what Israel wants to do, but ultimately, when you go hard in the paint like this, there is a worry or a potential of pissing off the next generation. So I mean, we'll see how how it goes. But ultimately, you can't blame Israel for going hard. If anything, I think they should have gone harder, faster. All right, Watcher, you got any thoughts before we move on?
I said it when the war started. They don't really have an option. So it's proceeding basically like we said it would when it started too. So that's kind of it. Is just okay. It's gonna end when Hamas is credibly finished, and not before. There's zero reason to end it before. There's no reason to even negotiate with the bastards. They've proven time and time again that anything they say in negotiation, they'll renege on as soon as they can. So.
All right. So for the next story, gentlemen, I want to ask you: have you guys seen the digital IDs that they're talking about rolling out in England?
I have, and I've been shocked that we'll just say that at the amount of governmental stability in the United Kingdom, it seems it should be far lower than it is.
Yeah, I'm scratching my head on how easily they're going along with this. I mean, the usual suspects, Nigel Farage, and some of the others are against it. But I mean, Joe, it shouldn't surprise you that, like, literally they're saying that you can't get a job in the future if you don't have one of these. And it's like, I don't know if you've seen some of the interviews with some of the British officials on the news, but it's like, no, why wouldn't you not have one? It's like, yes, you will definitely have one. Everybody will have one. You'll have to get one. You'll be forced to get one. And it's just kind of like this cognitive dissonance. Like, how could this be a bad thing? I mean, what's the problem here?
I read this book once about having something that was required to conduct commerce and trade. It didn't end well in that book.
No, it didn't. Yeah. And I'm also reminded of another famous British book, 1984, about what happens when you lose track or you lose your ability to.
There is one thing that's surprising about this, because I had always called that they were going to that the World Economic Forum types were going to make this push as an answer to, oh, you don't like all this immigration? Well, in order to get them out, you know what we're going to have to do, right? And they're not even doing that. Nope.
Right.
You don't even get the immigrants out. Sorry. Just, here you go, full walled garden.
Before we go into the story here, which is not exactly the British ID, it's kind of like the Euro version, and it's actually worse. I've got this one tweet that this just kind of, I'm putting in the private chat, Watcher. This is from an account called Project Constitution, and this is RFK Jr. talking about how bad this stuff is. And he basically says digital currency will allow the government to punish you from a distance, to cut off your food supply, transform every right you have into a privilege contingent on obedience. It will make you a slave. I thought that was very well said. There's a video. I don't know. I haven't watched the video, so I assume I don't want to listen to him. His voice is hard to listen to. But basically talking about some of the points here are there's a ultimate turnkey totalitarian state. Digital wallets where one wrong move equals frozen funds, behavior scores, so like CBDCs, digital IDs, and basically credit scores, like social credit scores, all kind of working together. China already has this system. Joe, go ahead. I'm sorry, I was just
agreeing with you. That's all.
Oh, okay. China already has a system, a digital ID tied to a social credit score. Citizens are rewarded for blind obedience, punished for dissent. Speak out against the government, you're banned from trains, planes, jobs, your bank account. Step out of line, and you can't even buy groceries. The model they want. This is the model they want here. And remember, here he said there's 3 rules here. Every power government takes, it never gets back. This is true. Every power will be abused to the max. True again. And no one in history has ever complied their way out of tyranny, which that's something I've heard you say quite a bit, which is these are all spot on. So,
yeah, I mean, you can't comply hard enough to not be not have them continue, right?
yeah, exactly right. All right, let me get to the story here. Digital gulag is being erected before your very eyes. So you got a guy here with a World Economic Forum backdrop. Let's listen to what this guy here in the story has to say. I'll let him speak for himself. It's a little long, watcher, so feel free to just pause it and we can comment as the guy kind of makes something worth saying.
I propose putting an end to anonymity on social media. In our countries, no one can walk the streets with a mask on their face or drive a car without a license plate. No one can send packages without showing an ID or buy a hunting weapon without giving their name. And yet,
pause. You can't send a package without showing an ID?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I send packages all the time. I don't show ID.
Yeah, unless you're like sending like a firearm or something like that, I mean, which I get, but anyway, go ahead.
Allowing people to roam freely on social networks without linking their profiles to a real identity. This paving the way for misinformation, hate speech, and cyber harassment, because it is facilitating the use of bots and it is allowing people to act without being held accountable for their actions. Such an anomaly cannot continue. In a democracy, citizens have the right to privacy, not to anonymity or impunity, because with those two, social coexistence would be impossible.
No, sorry,
all absolute and complete lies. Look, this is I don't think we need.
It just shows you how dystopian these people are.
Well, it's not even dystopian. Look, they've been. I don't know how to say this, guys. They literally laid the playbook out in the early 2000s. They've been pushing for this ever since they realized that they couldn't fully control the internet. That's it.
Yeah. This is a long time coming.
Yes, and it's not. They've not been shy about it. They've not been. This is just full totalitarian control. It's the way we've been going for a while, and the internet is the thing that circumvents all that. But the problem is, you actually need at least one powerful free country in order to continue operating the internet for all those people to use the network tools in order to bypass all the censorship.
Right. Well, his use of language is very telling. He talks a lot about democracy and freedom, but he also says, allow. If the government has the permission to allow you to do things, you don't have freedom. You have whatever the government is giving you, right? You don't get to allow me to do things. That's not how that works.
Yeah, I'm Joshua Clark in our fan chat.
I don't know why somebody thinks that we should dox this guy. He's literally the Prime Minister of Spain. Everyone knows who he is.
I know,
say,
right? Also, it's.
I think he's kind of doxed himself. When you speak at a World Economic Forum, they have a lot of information about you. By the way, I want to, Joe, it's been probably middle of maybe last summer when we really had a lot of content on the World Economic Forum. So it's been interesting to see that they have definitely not gone away. A lot of their initiatives haven't gotten traction, and there's been a lot of populist pushback against the things that the WEF and they're definitely kind of going down violently with the ship, but ultimately the violent part is here for sure.
Well, the truth is, you have to decide what is your actual line for freedom, right? You can continue to comply, like we just mentioned, and they're going to continue to take things away from you. I mean, at what point do you decide, okay, I want to get along, and I like my job, and I'm more worried about this, that, and the other thing. But at some point, you have to say, my principles dictate I can't go any further down this. It's really tough.
Yeah, it's it's just when you think that they've gone dark, they go darker, right? I mean, it's almost like it always gets worse. No matter how much you look at it, it always gets worse. Is there anything left of this guy, or was that the end of it?
I mean, it's basically the same stuff after that. It's just
Let's see what Sanchez is really saying here. He's declaring the digital public square the last truly global space for free, unvetted discourse must be brought under the direct supervision of the state. His rhetoric is a masterclass in misdirection, fighting misinformation, which is code for establishing a verifiable identity for dissent. Under this system, any opinion deemed inconvenient by the authorities can be traced directly back to the citizen who voiced it. Ending cyber harassment, which is pretext for ending digital privacy, the principle that one can speak without fear of state retribution is being reclassified as impunity. Pseudonymity is a Trojan horse. It offers the illusion of a nickname where ensuing ensuring that the government database holds the key to your real identity, accessible whenever the public authorities deem your speech is a crime. This is not pseudonymity. This is a state-mandated identity registration for speech. The ultimate goal of the WF's Great Reset and Digital ID agenda, not safety, but control. It creates a system for participation in modern society is contingent on accepting government-issued digital leash. The threat of being banned or prosecuted for undefined crimes will inevitably lead to the self-censorship, silencing legitimate criticism, and neutralization of opposition. He wants to force open the black box of algorithms, which completes the picture. It's not about transparency for users, but about regulatory capture for the state. The goal is for the governments to dictate what content is amplified and what is suppressed, shaping public opinion under the guise of managing the public conversation, which is exactly what China's done with all their social media projects. Have negative impacts to foreign audiences and have nothing but positive in their viewpoint, impacts to the domestic audience. This is not the path to a safer internet. It's a path to sterile, state-managed internet where freedom is traded for the false promise of security. The globalist elite of the WEF are not solving problems of the digital age. They are exploiting them to build the architecture of control. And I think that's absolutely true. Watcher, you got any other kind of thoughts on this before we close this one down?
Nah. Sorry, I don't mean to be unengaging on this. I'm just trying to research a couple other things at the same time. I don't really have any serious thoughts about it other than you have to resist, but they're not going to. I guess I do have one thought, which is I would say that we're going to have to do something about the EU, but honestly, here's here's what we are dealing with, and it's like this story is a perfect direct reflection of it. The EU made a direct decision that in order to control their populations, they were going to stifle all kind of innovation and not allow anybody to get rich or climb up, because that would threaten the people who were in power when World War II ended. That just kind of ossified over generations, right? And like legitimately, I can't even remember. It was early 2010, I want to say. They published a paper that essentially said, "Hey, we get that we're falling behind on science and all kinds of scientific research and AI and basically all of it, but we've decided that we're not in those races. We're not going to be in those races. We've decided that it's not going to be our place in the future to be the innovators. Instead, we will be the regulators. We will attempt to use our regulatory authority to impose our control over the rest of the world who's actually doing the innovation in order to stifle them as well."
Which is why California now is trying to implement
Correct.
European-style hate speech regulation for any social media posts. And
they use California in a similar way for the states.
Yeah. Actually, I never saw it. I assume Gavin Newsom signed that bill. I know it passed both houses.
As far as I understand it, though, it's being contested in court, which likely means that the previous map will stand. Because
no, not the map. I'm talking about it's hate speech, the European style hate speech. Let's see. I'm just kind of searching it up here real quick. California AG rejects demand to remove. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, luckily for us on that front, at least for now, until they can change the Constitution, that one gets slapped down pretty regularly.
Yeah, so California passed SB 771 through all committees and only had one signature away from implementing fines of up to $1 million per offense for what Democrats call hate speech. This is as of the 24th.
Newsom is passing a whole bunch of laws that are absolutely ridiculous, like the ICE agents can't wear masks. He has no jurisdiction to do any such thing. It's all silly. It's all virtue signaling.
Yeah, it's exactly right, Joe. Most, if not all of it, is virtue signaling. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not too optimistic when it comes to this stuff. Joe, it's radio day, huh?
What now?
You shared out all these good deals on radios on.
I literally
X,
just saw it.
I posted two.
Yeah. Your post was that one was on the top, and I refreshed my feed, and then your next one, the Uniden one, popped up as the next one. I was
the Uniden one was on my mind because we used it this weekend and explained to people how that can be used. So, yeah.
All right.
You know what hate speech I want banned, and I'm about to drop it in the chat, is that eggnog is good. That is hate speech.
I'm telling you guys, got to try boiled custard.
We will not tolerate you noggers up in here.
That's what I love about this argument, is that I can literally claim to be Switzerland and the whole thing.
Yeah.
U.S. preparing for possible drone strikes on drug cartels inside Venezuela. Interesting. Weeks after U.S. officials told the New York Times that the real goal of the military buildup in the Caribbean and the strategic strikes against drug boats in the region was regime change, a new NBC News report calls for unnamed sources, including 2 U.S. officials, now say that the U.S. could be nearing a strike phase targeting drug cartels inside Venezuela. Now, Joe, in order for them to do this, I mean, there's got to be some sort of congressional approval, no?
You would think, but they're going to do it anyway. I believe that now that we have the Special Ops Expeditionary Sea Base in the area, something big is going to go down pretty darn quick. So
yeah, that's a pretty limited asset that you don't just like hang it out someplace unless it needs to be there.
especially in a place with hostile assets around, right?
Yeah.
And that backs up my theory that the ARG is there as a recovery asset for anything that goes bad, right?
Hey, before we go into the story, though, they've got 2 super chats I want to catch up on. Lance Corporal Veteran for $5. He says, personally, it's a bit too soon to go out and try to replace the face of Turning Point USA with a Boy Wonder clone. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, do you guys know anything more about this kid that, because I don't know anything about him. That's kind of it. That's kind of the reason why I'm like, listen, who the fuck is this kid?
Talk about the Turning Point kid. Yeah, no idea.
Yeah. All I know is he was flying on a private jet, which does not make me like immediately connect with somebody. Oh yeah, I've got that same jet, or
It's just like me. He's wearing a Masters polo shirt because we all golf in the Masters tournament, Masters tour.
Or yeah. So yeah, he just strikes me a little bit as AstroTurf, if I'm honest.
I mean, and what's his name? Brylwyn Hollyhand. It sounds made up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. It does sound like a fucking.
It sounds like a character in a movie, right?
Yeah, that's yeah. You know what? I hadn't thought about it, Joe, but you're absolutely right.
Sounds like Hallmark movie, Christmas movie name. Brylwyn Hollyhand. What?
Or like a kid from a fucking Harry Potter movie or something like that.
Yeah.
Lance Corporal Veteran for $5 again. German Prime Minister said it best in his response to Vance why they believe in censorship. It's because democracy needs to defend itself from speech. Well, I mean, if democracy is so fucking fragile, maybe they should get themselves a constitutional republic. Maybe. That's done a pretty good job of standing up to tough speech. I mean, but hell, what do I know? Anyway, back to the story of Venezuela. Let's see. Strikes inside Venezuela would represent a significant escalation following the recent U.S. military strikes against 3 drug boats off the South American country. Last week, Venezuela's Vice President Delcy Rodriguez released Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro's letter to President Trump. In it, Maduro vehemently denied involvement in narco trafficking, calling the allegations fake news propagating through various media channels. He further offered to engage in direct and frank conversation with your special envoy. Joe, I get the feeling like when he says it's a lie, he's also turning to like one of his close buddies who knows like all the deals. He's like, how the fuck did they find out we're like selling drugs? It's one of those kind of things that it probably was a secret until we decided to tell everybody about it.
Right. I think that we have some pretty darn good intelligence assets that know everything that goes on down there. I just don't understand why we tried to snow the public with this Cartel de la Souls thing.
Yeah. That doesn't quite kind of strike. I don't know.
Well, and then it was, there was so much else going on that it just passed right by, and I don't even remember who it was. But some other South American country like passed some kind of resolution to their Congress to recognize the Cartel of the Suns or whatever. I think it might have been Colombia. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was weird.
I like to think of myself as being not like super knowledgeable, but I would say up on the latest news when it comes to drug cartels and things like that. And it was the first time I had ever heard of them. So looking at the kind of broader motivations for this, the administration is using drug death crisis, citing 100,000 Americans per year, many of them working age men and women, as a pretext to clean up the Western Hemisphere under a theme we've called hemispheric defense. This strategy ranges from securing the entire hemisphere with military assets to eliminating transnational gangs from financial networks, as well as disrupting the cartels that flood the U.S. with drugs such as fentanyl, whose precursor chemicals originate in China. Yeah, guys, I don't see this one going away. I get the feeling like they put a target on Maduro's back, and it's just a matter of time as to what the fuck's going to happen with this. Speaking of just a matter of time, it's just a matter of time before Don shows up on any given day. Don, how you doing, brother?
Not too bad. How you gentlemen doing this fine morning?
Yeah, we can't complain. If we did, would anybody listen?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Speaking of former Marines who are at risk of causing political violence, good morning, sir.
Good morning. And I think I am at risk of being subject to political violence before I cause it.
Well, you're just kind of like it's a 50-50 thing, Don, whether you're going to cause the political violence or be the victim of political violence.
Well, look, if you bring me political violence, it would be unkind of me not to give you some back.
This is true. Oh, speaking of political violence, Joe, can we talk about that political violence graphic that some fucking you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah. The one that said from 1975 to the present. I wonder why they picked 1975. What ended in 1975?
I'm sharing a link in the private chat, Watcher, so you can show it.
Okay. So that's not. I have another interesting one to share after this one. In which they play another weird data game.
So let me just read what they put here. Ideology of political murders. As Trump calls for a crackdown on the radical left, analysis from the Cato Institute of 620 politically motivated murders since 1975, key point number one, shows that when 9/11 is excluded, of course it's excluded, most political violence comes from the right. Okay, so if you include 9/11, right, you automatically add the almost 4,000 to the 143, which absolutely blows. If assuming this is all correct, every number in here is correct. Just assume that, right?
No, it's such obvious. Like before you even dig into the study to find all the errors, it's such obvious motivated reasoning the way they set it up.
Right.
You don't think if we don't count leftist violence, there's no leftist violence is a good method to determine
Isn't that weird?
political violence?
So, yeah, that's exactly. Their attacks aren't classified as extremist violence.
Right. By the way, Cato's libertarian, everyone. Remember, definitely not leftist.
The majority of the numbers there on the right thing are included in a single incident of terrorism, Oklahoma City.
Yeah. The other thing, Joe, the other key data point here is noticing the date. They stop it at 1975. Joe, what would happen if we were to just push it another 10 years into 1965? What then happens to
those numbers? Go drastically the other way because you had the Weathermen blowing things up. You had the Puerto Rican Liberation Movement. You had all kinds of folks who were just setting off bombs everywhere. You had before 1975, you had the Symbionese Liberation Army, the Black Panthers, all these other groups that were killing people and blowing things up prior to 75.
Yeah,
here's my new favorite other chart that I thought you were talking about when you started this, which is they're playing another fun different data game, which is, hey, people dug through our 2025 numbers and found out we were full of shit, and they haven't dug through the rest of these numbers yet. Well, gee, what happened to all the right-wing violence this year, all of a sudden?
It's taking a nap. It will get back to you shortly.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of like what they were saying during the during the Biden administration, the third Obama administration, the Biden administration, when they said that their task force looking for domestic violent extremists, right-wing extremists, basically was a problem looking for statistics, and the statistics were just in very short supply because there was no fucking domestic violent extremist in reality.
Well, don't let that get in your way, right?
Well,
Just do the time-honored tradition of counting leftists as right-wingers when they commit violence, and then refuse to acknowledge any other leftist violence. And then we know that straight white men who love America and the Constitution are the biggest terrorist threat in the United States. Thank you, FBI, for that line, you douchebags.
You know, that one DHS bulletin should have shocked everyone into absolute rebellion when it said indicators of domestic violent extremism are a belief in the Constitution of the United States. Yeah. By the way, the guys who wrote that document took an oath to believe in the Constitution of the United States.
Right.
Absolutely crazy.
Well, as did every member of the military and most other government.
Except one specific major, apparently.
Oh,
come on! I know you saw that guy.
The new one, right? Yeah. I had a comment on that motherfucker too. What did I say?
DSCA, learn it. It's your job.
Oh yeah. Disco, learn it, live it, love it. Because DISCA is a fucking mission set of the military. It's defense support to civil authorities. Yeah, and it's like I said, most of the time when there's a law enforcement action that has 200 National Guardsmen, that's 200 fucking bus drivers that they basically get. Right? You guys got a driver's license? No, we're going to give you a quick driver's license test, and you're going to be driving buses full of guys to and from the Hooskow.
Yeah. Well, that and there's 20 MPs or whatever that are probably carrying tear gas and pepper spray or batons.
Well, but MPs would make sense because on the when you've got a federal facility, MPs actually have jurisdiction at a federal facility.
Yeah. But no, you're right. There is always some view that the only people in the military are the infantry, and everyone likes to tell you that no one actually believes that. Right up until these things happen, they're like, oh my God, they're deploying 200 National Guards. That's like a whole company of infantrymen reinforced. I mean, maybe, but chances are very, very good Motor T is out in force. Exactly. Hey, watch it real quick. Rick actually posted the graphic in the CFC fan chat. Can you pull that and we can just show that real quick?
Sure. I
think this is the old one, but it's worth looking at.
I'm not seeing it.
It's this DHS document with all the highlighted stuff.
Hold on. No, it's fine. I just got to refresh. Yeah. There it is. I don't know if everybody else does this, but my Twitter does this thing. If I open a chat and I don't hit the refresh, it just displays what was up 5 hours ago.
Let's see. Right-wing extremism report, March of 2009, with supplementary domestic extremism. So basically, they just updated this for the Biden era. This is the Obama era one. Extremists identified with one of the following criteria among. Let's look at Don and see if Don falls into any of these, because Don's the only domestic violence extremist that I personally know.
I'm here for you, buddy.
Military veteran who fought in foreign wars. Anti-war individuals or groups.
No, hold on. Read that whole sentence.
Or which ones? The first
read.
One?
You only read the first part. Read the whole thing.
Yeah, who fought in foreign wars and disgruntled about the takeover of the U.S.
I'm sorry, who took over the U.S.?
Right.
They're making an admission there, aren't they?
Let's see, tax-resistant movement. I mean, so if you don't like taxes, they're probably domestic violence extremists. Militia, members who oppose most federal and state laws, regulations, and authority. The irony is that
that's
I don't think
not true, right?
Right. Most militia people that I know don't actually believe that.
Right.
Well, look, if you take the headliner there, I'm not actually a member of a militia, but if you take the description, this is just continuing to basically be my resume.
Right.
Read that alternative media one, and it should.
Yeah. This is good. Alternative media, which provides interpretations of events and issues that differ radically from those presented in mass media outlets. So if
Son
you
of a
don't
bitch.
buy, if you don't, yeah, I know, right? If you watch Alex Jones, you are fucked.
Mhm.
Opponents of open border policies. Wow. Defined as highly critical of the U.S. government's response to illegal immigration and who oppose government programs that are designed to extend rights to illegal aliens. The irony is this was done under the Obama administration, who was actually deporting more people than Trump did in his first administration.
Can we stop with that lie, please?
What
Do we know how Obama deported more people than anybody in history?
Because he didn't let them in. He just basically turned them right around.
Yeah, he classified refusals as the border as deportations, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah. That's
if
exactly
you do
right.
that for any other president in the United States, Obama basically deported nobody.
Yeah, once you got into the states, you were pretty safe. Let's see. Single issues, group, or individuals who focus on single issues. Guys, if you have a single issue that you're really excited about, then you're probably domestic violence extremist. Uh-oh,
I'm
guys.
excited about our Major Tom Halloween decoration.
That's pretty dope.
Oh, man, that really is. No, put that thing back.
It is
That's
very,
awesome.
very cool. I don't know how they so perfectly recreated Major Tom.
I know. I keep telling Joe we got to figure out a way to inject red food dye up into that thing.
I want to crack it up and put a CFC patch on him. So,
Oh man, one of you out there in the audience works on these things in some.
I know.
Makes them.
You probably have an
that to
Etsy
happen.
or something. Yeah. Anyway, frequency. Okay, here's other things. Frequently refers to the Constitution. Support third-party candidates. Support an audit of the Federal Reserve. Interesting. Opposition to carbon tax, which would be paid to a World Bank. God, that talk about fucking dystopian.
Right.
You know. Opposition to U.S. submission. You listen to this. U.S. submission to the United Nations and or the World Health Organization.
So, like that target that's a UN blue helmet. That's a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah.
crazy.
Anyway, some interesting stuff there. Yeah, this is an older one, but I'm sure that the Biden administration had something that was even worse.
Hey, do you think the people who typed this up still work at the FBI? Hey, do you think the people who ordered the person to type this up still work at the FBI? Hey, do you think the people who promoted the people who hired this person and trained them to think this way still work at the FBI?
Now, there's a decent chance those people don't, not because they got fired, but because it's been 15 years and they probably retired.
Yeah, that's 2009, so 16 years.
Oh, okay. So the last group is probably out.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, they now work for CNN as contributors, making $20,000 an appearance.
Sorry, this is just another drive-by thing that I saw in my feed before we move on. Congressman Eric Swalwell announces he will target and investigate private citizens who work with President Trump when Democrats win in 2026. Accountability is coming. It's all about coming out. I hope this deters people from doing more than of these deals for the president. We will subpoena the DOJ. We will also put private actors who have done these drug deals with the administration. So they are announcing their plans to weaponize government now. So they're going to. I mean, they're already they're not even hiding.
No,
and they never have really
continue weaponizing government.
Continue their previous efforts.
Isn't Swalwell the nuke guy?
Well, no. Here's the deal.
He's the fang
isn't
guy.
Swalwell the guy who has verifiably committed acts that are very likely to land him in prison for a very long time once it's his turn to be investigated?
Oh, man.
Yes,
So,
he did. He was on the National Security Council, and he leaked secrets to a spy.
I am entirely with you until we have an administration with the balls to just go, look, we're just arresting these people. I have very little hope for that in particular.
Yeah.
Not to be the major black pillar that I am consistently accused of. However,
Well, I mean, you know, if the shoe fits, brother.
and that's the issue, right? You know, is we finally charged Comey, and by that I mean we sent him a strongly worded letter that said, hey, eventually you have to turn yourself in. And okay, that's not terrible, but there's only about 8 billion other people that should be on that list.
Oh, gentlemen, we're going back to the Turning Point kid. I'm so sorry.
I think Joe has the reigning answer to this kid anywhere.
Don, there's people saying they can't hear you, so
I think
speak up, motherfucker.
I think that is a product of Scott once upon a time turning me down and never fixing it. And I don't know how to fix that.
In Don's defense, his audio has to go through the FBI first and then come out. So
yeah, that is a problem. Is that better? My ridiculous.
Yeah, your mic settings are copacetic on our end. So yeah, that is better, by the way. So I don't know again who this guy is. This guy's another. So there's three of these guys. There's this guy.
There's that Hollyhand kid.
Yeah, and then there's this kid who I've never seen before. Though he needs
that's literally the guy from Fallout, isn't it?
You know, the sad thing, I know, right? This is literally the the cartoon character from the Fallout stuff. The sad thing about this kid's haircut, look at it. He's all right. I'm okay with this up here. It's a little long for my military sensibility, but look at this right here. This draping the fucking this bullshit over the ears. What the fuck is going on with that? And then anyway, here's the third one.
What?
So this is a post from the third kid, like the one whose face looked like it was punched in, right? We are the Republicans.
I'm pretty sure that this is a satire thing.
I hope so. But unfortunately, this kid has 33.5 thousand followers, and he has a Blaze stuff in his thing. So I get the feeling this is a real account. We are the Republicans your parents warned you about. We're smart, irresistible to women, and most importantly, we're alpha males. We are the future, whether you like it or not. Stay mad, gentlemen.
Wrong on all counts.
This is what you call an own goal in the world of soccer.
Yeah.
What is that kid's name?
It says this guy here says it's not too late to delete this. Your PFP makes me want to apply to work for ICE. Okay. Irresistible to blind and deaf women at best. Yes, them too. I mean, this guy is not even like great at the comebacks. Let's see. The future of the GOP is the Mr. Beast phenotype. He doesn't realize that that's not a good thing. Is this satire?
I am dying here. I cannot remember this kid's name. And the 90s kid, I mean, he's in Red Dawn. He's in whatever the hell that vampire movie was.
You talking about the Wolverines guy, the one who and then gets shot? He shoots the AK and then gets shot on the rock. That one?
No, not him. Damn it, he was really popular in the 80s.
Let's see, there's Patrick Swayze. Was Charlie Sheen. There was the Pony Boy kid, which is the one I just talked about from fucking Rumblefish, and I don't remember the other actors.
You're gonna have to give me a minute. Him, he went off on the Hollywood is full of kid touchers thing for a couple of years, and then just disappeared.
The deer blood drinker. Yeah. But that's the one I'm thinking of Matt L. But that's not who he's talking about. And no, not Jennifer Grey. Robert Pattinson. He's the fucking sparkly vampire, isn't he? Corey Feldman or
Corey
Haynes?
Feldman. Corey Feldman.
Yeah, that's
That
but who's in
dude
it with him?
looks like Corey Feldman if
That's
Corey
true.
Feldman's mom was a crack whore.
This is the important stuff that people come here for.
Yes.
By the way, when Brilliant Hollyhand said on that video, "I'll see you super soon." Listen, anyone who says "I'll see you super soon" is not on my side. That is not a person I can relate to or ever will.
But the thing that I'm just really getting a kick out of is just how hard in the paint our side of X is going on these like Stepford sons of the who have nothing to do with actually earning a real audience.
This is the thing. This is what indicates that they might actually be leftist plants, because they are what the left thinks the right is: elitist, rich, out of touch, right?
Yeah.
So interesting. Oh, Squishy Hunter for the win. Every one of them regularly visits Djibouti.
Yeah.
Hey, we could just call them the Horn of Africa.
Yeah, the Horn of Africa. Oh man, well done.
Well, one thing that I'm seeing here is that kid Bryn or whatever his name is. What is it? Brylan? Is that even a girl? A guy? A boy's name? That's not a boy's name. That's a girl's name.
First of all, if you have that name, your parents are pretentious jerks. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, or at least they were when they named you, and then they weren't smart enough to kind of give you a nickname, so nobody ever knew your real name.
This is where we learn it's a stage name, and his parents are crying at home every day because he tells that to people.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know if the chat has seen this kid. Watch her. Let's force like we had to see it, so now the chat has to see it. I have. And the post here is, this is the TP USA body swap Charlie Kirk with he's a rabid Christian Zionist. All right, let's see.
About 30,000 feet up. We are on the way to Arkansas. So everybody in line at the University of Arkansas to kick off my 10-stop campus tour. We are coming to you right here, right now. Stay in line. We have gotten a third room as we have sold out this campus stop 3 times. But we are coming to you. We will fit you in. Students will get priority, but we will make it happen. I cannot be more excited. We are back. We are on the road. We're coming to you one conversation at a time. If you're not at the University of Arkansas, we're coming to a campus near you soon. So check out my tour dates. We'll see you super soon.
I've never watched the whole thing.
Yeah, listen, don't get me wrong, and there's a part of this that I totally get, right? Like, from his perspective, we're looking at this and we go, private jet, that's a rich kid, and it obviously is a rich kid. But what he's not, like, what he's not thinking about is, Charlie had a fleet of private planes. Eventually, in the beginning, Charlie ran around on public transportation and just kind of took anything he could do. But once the organization got big enough, they have the justification for it. They're all over the country all the time. They and it's not just like, it wasn't just for Charlie. He was flying an entire organization around the country. But they're not thinking about the optics of that, because that's very displeasant.
The bad news is that the plane crashed because the pilot died of cringe and just plummeted right.
Yeah. I mean, that is just like one of many things on here. I don't know. I hate to be nitpicky, but it's an optics battle, and
listen, it's a cheap private plane. That's completely irrelevant, because 95% of the people on the planet don't have a private plane. I mean, I'm just 99% of the people don't have it. I don't care if it's a cheap private plane.
I hate to say it, I could say on one hand, yes, I've taken a private jet like that before, on the other hand, it was owned by the government, and I was wearing a uniform
gonna
when I was
say.
in it. So,
Well, I've taken plenty of them, but the clients were the ones who paid for them, not me.
yeah.
So,
All right, real quick, we catch up on the super chats. I am Bob for $5 says it's National Coffee Day. Find your freebies. And then Lance Corporal Veteran for $5 says current FedGov definition of extremism is all like it's from the left fever dream. Yeah. I mean, they absolutely have a kind of a fantasy of what they want the right to be, and then that's just how they make it up. What they don't realize is that actually applies to 80% of the people on the right.
Hey, gents. Maybe we're just being too harsh here. It looks like you can buy a private jet for about $450,000 if you're willing to get one that's 50 years old. So, I mean, clearly, we're just going too hard at this kid.
By the way, Hunch the Dirty Roofer in the Rumble chat got it. C. Thomas Howe. That's the kid that I was thinking about in Red Dawn, but that was not who you were talking about.
Yeah, I'll give you this one as far as anybody wants to go for it. Look, guys,
stand by. I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, I've pursued a pilot's license, and I don't want to give too much of the game away, but let's just say I've had reason to be in planes like this, and apart from that, that's the only context in which I've ever even been in a jet like this. So, in fact, why don't we just do this real quick? Commentary while we're panning for time. Why don't you give us a quick one in the chat if you've ever even been inside of a plane like this, even as part of a tour of, hey, would you like to see what the inside of the plane looks like? Give us a 2 in the much more likely case you have not.
Lance Corporal Veteran for $5. Turning Point USA new faces. One looks like casted by a talent scout. The other looks like he was fake teeth. And the other one looks like Mr. Bean's love child. Here's the thing, right? In fairness, I don't think any one of those three are technically on the Turning Point USA payroll. I think Turning Point USA is doing a kind of a tour right now with a bunch of really famous people like Megyn Kelly and Glenn Beck, and I was a member. Let's see. That kid is the physique and name of a gay elf, like when he was kicked out of Santa's workshop for giving elves
Holly Handies.
I thought it was he wanted to be a dentist. That's the one. Who knew there was this whole nother level to that story?
He does look like he wanted to be a dentist.
He gets some teeth flossing done.
He does.
Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. All right. A lot of ones and twos in the chats there. Mostly twos. Josh, that's what we just got. All right, let me go over to Rumble. I have a couple over here. Hunch Dirty Roof for $2. Why are you surprised, Scott? The neocons like Shapiro and his ilk have no issue gaslighting Americans. Yep.
What? Hold on. What was the question? Why do the neocons have no issue gaslighting Americans?
Yeah, neocons like Shapiro and his ilk have no issue gaslighting Americans.
I mean, I honestly haven't followed Shapiro. I'll be honest.
He's really mostly a neocon when it comes to Israel. I think it's like he's never met an Israeli war he didn't like. Yeah. I don't know if he's straight up neocon after that, but
so not speaking to him specifically, because again, I don't know much about Ben Shapiro apart from his sister's a freaking.
I haven't watched him in a while.
Yeah. But the neocons, the neocons have no problem lying. Look, when the day that you realize that George W. Bush, and Michelle Obama share almost like 95% staff members is the day you realize why that's a weird question and grow up in American politics. Neocons it's literally the same party. They're literally the same people.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. There's this kind of like blob, this kind of like neocon blob or whatever that's behind them that kind of pushes them all. Oh, this is interesting. So this
I can't.
the kosher calcium cannons. Yep. I mean, she's genetically gifted. What can you say? And and I wasn't talking about her piano or violin. She's like a violin prodigy too, by the way. If you
I
didn't
heard
know,
that. I think she speaks like 6 languages too.
I know she's like a shockingly intelligent and like a decently amazing person. And then on top of that, so I guess there's people really going hard in the paint on this kid. Charlie Kirk and Turning Point didn't mention you. They didn't authorize your tour, and nobody is calling you his successor. Your book was ghostwritten. Your RNC spot was paid for because your dad is a donor who made his money off Section 8 housing. And you get on shows because you beg producers to go on. I have receipts for that too. You're a made in the lab, wholesome Southern guy who's been forced on us to support a moderate form of politics. You're excited to carry the legacy of your dead mentor. I guess he would, like, Charlie Kirk came on his show or something like that when he was like, he had a podcast when he was like 14, which makes sense if you're rich that you would have a podcast when you're a teenager. Anyway, all right, let's move on. Gentlemen, Joe, you want to talk a little bit about tacticalwisdom.com real quick?
I can. So listen, we had a great class this weekend, community security ops. You need that class. You need to learn all about how to protect your neighborhood, local community, or whatever when the lights go out. Everyone wants to go to the cool guy classes and go shoot things and go punch holes in paper. But 95% of your time will be doing the boring stuff of manning checkpoints and roadblocks. And that's what we were doing. So come and learn that kind of stuff. This weekend, whatever that is, the 4th and 5th, I will be in Libby, Montana with the Northwest Montana Veterans Stand Down, where we'll be handing out gear, cold weather gear for veterans to get through the winter. There'll be a whole bunch of veteran services out there. I know some members of our chat will probably be there volunteering their time to help out. I may even convince Old Hong Kong to come out and make an appearance. Who, by the way, let me give a little shout out to Old Hong Kong. He couldn't stay for dinner, but he dropped off some mahi and the seasoning for me to make blackened mahi for the guys in the class, and it was absolutely amazing. That old Hong Kong guy is a good dude to know.
What an upstanding gentleman.
But anyway, the Libby Stand Down is this weekend. Great opportunity to serve veterans. Come and hang out with us. We'll be staying in town up there, so I'm sure there will be shenanigans afoot. But then the weekend after that, I will be leaving to make it down to Mountain Readiness, which is the 18th and 19th, the 17th, 18th, and 19th of October. You can catch me, NC Scout, T from Mountain Readiness, and Angry American there, along with a bunch of other folks, and a lot of members of our chat will be there. It's going to be sort of a hangout, so come on down there. I'll be leading a church service there on Sunday, so that will be pretty awesome. And then my next class will be the weekend after, or the week after that, 21, 22, and 23 October. We're going to do Fieldcraft just before the Scout and Recce courses kick off at NC Scout's place. So we have a lot going on in the next few weeks. Get out there and check that out. And maybe even in the midst of all of that, buy some books. Now is the time to start buying people books for Christmas. So get on it.
Yes.
And there will be not one person named Brilliant Hollyhan at any of these events.
No Stepford boys that have come right out of the pod people. All right. Gentlemen, let's jump into our main segment for today. Don, I'm glad you're here for this because, essentially we've got two kind of topics that I think you can easily jump in on. The first one is it's basically two recent events that I want to talk about. We're still inside the 48-hour rule on both of these, but we have enough kind of basic knowledge to be able to talk about them from the standpoint of what actually happened or what appears to have happened. And then on both of them, there are some kind of telltale things that make us believe that these are politically motivated attacks. The first one is the Michigan church shooting. And the number I had seen earlier in the day was 2 were killed, but now it's up to 4.
So that's okay. So that's gonna go all over the place. What you need to understand is that the casualty count so far only included the 10 that were able to get out of the building and get to the hospital, and 2 that were found near the entry after the firefighters had completely extinguished the building. Mm-hmm. They have not had last night was when they were planning on trying to, and this morning is when they were trying to see if anybody got trapped inside, which it sounds very likely more than a few people were.
So the number could go up
dramatically, yes.
Do they have are there's a number of missing?
No, but there are a very large number of missing. From what missing or unaccounted for is what people are saying in the community. Listen, rough estimates from people who live there who have been trying to figure stuff out could be as high as 30.
Ex-Marine smashed a pickup truck into a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints church in Michigan, opened fire and set the building ablaze during a crowded Sunday service when then was fatally shot by police. At least 4 people were killed, and there's the kind of the caveat there. At least 4 people were killed, and 8 wounded, and authorities were searching the building ruins for more victims. The attack occurred around 10:25 a.m. while hundreds of people were in the building in Grand Blanc Township outside Flint. The man got The man got out of the pickup truck with 2 American flags raised on the truck bed and started shooting. Police Chief William Rennie told reporters the attacker apparently used gas to start the fire and had explosive devices, but it wasn't clear if he used them. Says an expert from the BATF. Authorities identified the shooter as Thomas Jacob Sanford, 40, of the neighboring small town of Burton. The FBI is leading the investigation and considered it an act of targeted violence. Let's see. Officers responding to the 911 call were at the church within 30 seconds. Rainey,
so that is a weird thing that they keep saying, which is not true. It was off-duty officers that were attending the service.
Yeah. 2 officers pursued him and engaged in gunfire, killing him about 8 minutes later, the chief said. People inside the church shielded children and moved them to safety during the attack. Flames and smoke poured from the church for hours before the blaze was extinguished. 2 bodies were found during a search of the debris. One of the wounded people was in critical condition, and 7 others were stable. Some people were unaccounted for, but didn't have an exact number. Let's see.
Motive not yet clear. I'm going to cut off. Well, I mean, it's not yet clear.
As of the time that this was written, as the time this was written, they purport that the motive is not clear. Investigators were searching Sanford's residence, but authorities did not say what they found or provide any additional detail, including whether he was a member of the church, widely known as the Mormon Church. Sanford served in the Marines from June of 2004 through June of 2008, working as an automotive mechanic and vehicle recovery operator, according to the military records obtained by the Detroit News. He deployed to Iraq from August 2007 through March of 2008 and held the rank of sergeant.
He was Motor C, so what does that tell you?
Yeah.
Well, so, yeah. We go more. I can go into this too. So he got out during the middle of the push. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when did he come
not
in?
only that, he made sergeant during his first enlistment and then got out during the first push.
Yeah. Look, and for those of you who don't know what that means, that is unbelievable to most of us.
That was a time at which retention was so bad they were literally letting in felons and shit.
Yeah.
Did he have is there any record of him being like a TBI IED victim?
No idea. There is apparently record of he is apparently disabled with PTSD. That's come out. Here's the bit of this they're not filling him for the motive yet that I discovered in my own sleuthing, which wasn't all that fucking hard, to be honest. Shortly after dude got out, he got out during a time when the VA had multiple years-long backlogs in almost every sector of the country. And Salt Lake City happened to be an area that was processing claims faster than most places. So you had dudes move from like literally every corner of the country, including like outlying territories like the Samoas, in order to come to Salt Lake to get their VA claims processed. During that time period, we have records of him living in Park City. He worked doing snow plowing for a company up there, a landscaping company up there. He didn't pay his landlady, which is part of how we know he was there, is there's a bunch of court disputes from him from that. And then because of a random conversation, like this is so unbelievably random, but it turns out that a candidate for the city that he currently lives in, Burley, was at his house to talk to the dude like 5 days before the shooting. And it just so happened that he literally basically laid out what happened. He moved to Utah, was doing his thing, wanted to have a big change in his life, was met and was dating an LDS girl who didn't like that he was all fucking tatted up all crazy and shit. And apparently that relationship ended very poorly, as in like immediately after that relationship ending, he drove all the way across the country back home. And then ended up being married and having a kid shortly afterwards, has been in a constant downward spiral in most of his life, and apparently has been steadily and moving more and more towards the position that the LDS Church is the Antichrist.
Apparently, he took the Dem Jews thing too far and said Dem Mountain Jews. Yeah.
Well, and apparently so did a lot of other people, which I'm just going to get this out of the way now. It was amazing that, 2 weeks ago, the entire Republican movement understood that, hey, if you didn't like what Charlie had to say, maybe right after he got assassinated was not the time to air those grievances. But now we've all forgotten.
This is the most unbelievable thing about this. And I mean that honestly. We are at a point where basically everybody with any grievance is very clearly starting to get motivated to pick up a gun and do terrible things. If you are sitting there on the far side of that going, oh, but you're not a real Christian, you're going to hell, you can go fuck yourself.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to second that and back up Washer on this, that, hey, man, if you decided that this was the time to air your grievances and hatred against the LDS Church, you are a dirtbag.
Yeah. Well,
and look, by the way, come find me in a week, and we can go back to talking shit about guys coming to your door, and being Mormons and
right. But timing is everything.
Well, let's be clear about this too, because people are going to bring it up. You may not have understood how the conversation that a lot of you jumped in on to say that Mormons aren't Christians started, but it started because the president chose to reach out an arm in fellowship to call us fellow Christians and to say that Christianity was under attack. That's why you all decided to jump out and tell us we weren't Christians.
Right.
By the way, because I see a lot of the same people, like I recognize the names. Oh, Trump's not a real Christian. He's just doing that to ape Christianity for political. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
If the guy who you think is aping Christianity for the sake of political points can manage to go, hey, our fellow Christians are under attack. Let's give them some grace and help them as best we can. Maybe you should sit the fuck down and go ask God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, whatever, to come into your life and go, hey, maybe I shouldn't be such a fucking asshole for 15 minutes.
Yeah. And they say, well, they're not actually Christians. It literally says the Church of Jesus Christ. Literally.
Well, the sad thing is when you see people who are complaining about people doing this about Charlie Kirk after he was killed, and then they literally go and do it when, some LDS.
Oh, yeah. Some of the same people who were complaining and using that as an example of why people should be fired from their jobs. In fact.
Yep.
I got to say, Watcher, F them hoes.
Yeah, unironically.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a terror attack. And we were talking. What was it? A couple months ago, we were talking about, we're going to have a terror attack every week now. Now we're having multiple terror attacks in one weekend.
So
yeah. So the second one, Don, we're only kind of counting 2 of the 5 as like terror attacks, though more could come out about some of the others.
I'm saying there's this dude who said you're in an insurgency, and that guy seems pretty wise for today.
So, I know, right? Because let's be honest, a large amount of gun violence in the country doesn't necessarily have to be politically motivated killings in order to cause terror and to cause, it just becomes the currency of the land. The second one is 3 dead and 5 injured in shooting in North Carolina waterfront bar, which, guys, I found this rather kind of head scratching when I read it. But the more I kind of understood about it, it's basically essentially, I won't say the same thing, but it's something. It's very similar in the kind of how it happened.
Here's my problem with this: they are too similar, eerily similar,
right?
To have been organic. I am very sorry to say that. I'm urging you all to put on your tinfoil hats, because if there ever was a time for it, it is right now. You have 2 Marines from the same period, both with the same sort of mental makeup, launching 2 spectacular attacks within 12 hours of each other. The odds
3 people
on that are pretty slim.
Yeah, somebody threw it into one of the large language models, and it was like 1 in 1.3 billion chance that this is legit and the way it's supposed to be.
3 people were killed, at least 5 more suffered injuries in a mass shooting in Southport, North Carolina on Saturday night, authorities said. They arrested a person of interest, Nigel Max Edge, a resident of the nearby town of Oak Island. According to police in the town in Southport, at a news conference Sunday morning, Southport Police Chief said the investigation so far suggests the shooting was highly premeditated. From a boat that he briefly parked outside the American Fish Company, a waterfront bar and restaurant along the Cape Fear River. The shooter opened fire around 9:30 p.m. On Saturday into a crowd of patrons in the Southport establishment. According to city officials, he proceeded to flee to the scene by boat and headed toward Oak Island, where the U.S. Coast Guard crews found and detained him. Edge was... Yes?
Sorry. No.
Edge was loading a boat at a public boat ramp in Oak Island at the time of his arrest. Brunswick County District Attorney John David, citing a Coast Guard report. He was held in custody overnight. Edge faces numerous charges, including 3 counts of first-degree murder, 5 counts of first-degree attempted murder, and 5 counts of assault with a deadly weapon with the intent to kill, according to the police chief. North Carolina's Bureau of Investigation is assisting Southport police. Authorities have not identified by name any of the patrons who were shot, and they are expected to provide an update in the investigation. So I have no idea what this guy's motivation, but just on the surface of it, it just seems to like this guy's a former Marine as well. Same time, he was also in Iraq.
So looking into this one, if you want a motivation, from what I have seen, let me preface this with, every single thing I've seen out of this guy says that he is like chattering teeth crazy. Like holy shit balls crazy. Guy filed a lawsuit against the city for the genocide of straight people by the LGBT community. But from what I am hearing, apparently, this is social media chatter, so it could be wrong. Dude was saying the night before he got kicked out after causing a big affray, saying that they had poisoned his drinks.
Yeah, this guy had engaged in a sovereign citizen movement known as paper terror, where he would file lawsuits against literally everyone for literally
Yeah.
everything that has gone on in his life, and they didn't even make sense. So that's entirely possible. But that's also the kind of person these things target. I'm just going to say.
Correct.
It's very easy to
Also-
write them off. Yeah.
Hey, what's the underlying... So the interesting thing here, hey, anybody who's been to the VA for PTSD treatment, which both of these two were, what is the first step always? Well, as a person who's been there, they'll tell you just about anywhere you go that the therapists who actually do talk therapy and CBT are few and far between, and those are generally therapies that take long times to carry out. So while they can't get you to talk to anybody, they'll get you any drug you want.
Oh yeah.
And copious amounts of them.
Well, that's true.
I had years ago, I walked into the VA, PTSD things, and they were like, well, we can give you a script for Ambien and Xanax or something like that. And like, there's like 6 of these things. And I was like, I'm not taking any of that, and I don't care what you say. And they're like, well, then we can't help you. And unironically, that was the end of the discussion with them.
Yep. Pretty much.
Yeah.
That is a story I hear repeated over and over and over again. And the guys who do tend to get into the talk therapy stuff, I have questions over methodology and results, because boy, a lot of them sure seem to spiral.
You know, I'll be honest with you. I think probably the best way to handle that is just to fucking bottle it inside, take no fucking medicine, and just, heavy doses of discipline. But then again, what the fuck do I know?
No, there's a lot to be said for that.
It sure seemed to fucking work for our grandparents.
Well, all I know is, look, what's like one of the number one side effects of PTSD? Well, it's depression. And how do modern psychiatrists keep trying to treat depression, even though we've proven that the active pathway that this medicine acts upon does not treat depression? Why, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you don't think SSRIs and the drugging of Americans veterans doesn't have something to do with their susceptibility to become part of something. Now, we have no idea if this guy was part of something, but as Joe very adroitly pointed out, the likelihood of this being completely disconnected seems very small. It just so happens that all this stuff happens within 12 hours of each other. I press doubt.
Well, no, hold on. That's not the only part of that. That's a doubt. Come on. It's not just that it was 12 hours. It was the 12 hours in which the Democratic Party was bleeding out more support than they have since the 60s, when their radicals were bombing in the streets.
We needed to change the narrative from left-wing violence to right-wing violence, and boy, did we ever.
Yeah. Well, but even then, I mean, so which one of the guys is the Code Blue guy?
That's not actually
That's
true.
the Mormon church shooter.
That's not true.
Is it not true? Because
No, those are people from different states, Wisconsin and Virginia. Turns out Thomas J. Sanford, not that unusual of a name.
Oh, believe me, when I was doing a lot of research, that was
When you
very
click those
apparent.
links, that none of them are him. So
yeah. The thing that ended up doing it for me, finding his actual info, was combining it with a known address. I knew what street. I didn't know the actual street address, but once I knew that, that's what actually gave me the real info.
All right, guys. Any other kind of points off of the topic of these two incidents? Any other kind of points on domestic terror or trends that we're noticing? Because we're getting ready to talk about the ongoing insurgency that is separate from terror, but not completely divorced from it in Portland.
Well, there's a lot of people who say, listen, slow down. Right wing, don't get mad. We don't want a civil war. You're already in one. They're already killing you.
Lower the temperature. Yeah.
You can't lower the temperature if the other side doesn't want to.
Yeah, the collapse is already occurring around you.
Yeah. It's a coin of phrase.
Let's just real quick here catch up. Phil Coughlin's member for 37 months. Number one, I fly them. I agree. The cost structure is insane. I do not know. I do know he's not rich enough to actually own one.
I don't know. His family has a lot of money.
Yeah, so his dad might own one.
His dad. Yeah.
But his family probably does. And then Lance Corporal Veteran for $5 says, during the early years in Iraq, a lot of guys had a lot of experience improving deactivating IEDs, probably how he learned about them.
Yeah, not unlikely.
I don't know. He was a motor T truck driver. I doubt that he had a lot of experience deactivating IEDs.
No, but he probably saw a bunch of. He saw the ones that they brought back and took pictures of and were sharing around, I'm sure.
All right. Let's move on to war in Portland. Let's start kind of at the 35,000 foot level. Trump authorizes full force in Portland as Bondi deploys Antifa nationwide. The Trump administration has responded to recent attacks on U.S. Immigration, Customs and Enforcement, or ICE, by directing AG Pam Bondi to deploy DOJ agents to ICE facilities and wherever federal immigration officers are under siege. This includes ordering the War Secretary, Pete Hegseth, to send U.S. troops to Portland to protect the city and ICE facilities from Antifa and other domestic terrorists. The move follows Trump signing an executive order last week to formally designate Antifa as a domestic terror organization, which we've got another story about, like, can you actually do that? And we've talked about that a little bit last week, but we'll look at that here in a second. He says, I've witnessed the continued onslaught of violence perpetuated against ICE officers in the country. The Department of Justice will not stand idly by in the face of lawlessness, Bondi wrote. At my direction, I am deploying DOJ agents to ICE facilities and wherever ICE comes under siege to safeguard federal agents, protect federal property, and immediately arrest all individuals engaged in any federal crime.
I have a question. What's a DOJ agent?
I would assume it's FBI.
That's what I would assume too. So why wouldn't you just say FBI?
Well, probably because it could be anything. It could be like a DHS. It wouldn't be DHS. It'd be DOJ.
There's two actual answers to your question. One is raw ignorance, which I have a hard time ruling out with that lady. And the other is anybody who is in any investigative capacity, which is probably just warrants and getting them approved as quickly as possible, that works with the DOJ, right? Now, you got to have a lot of faith to give her that kind of credence, but maybe you do. Maybe you think Bondi is that person. On the other hand, I just want to say stuff. Bondi seems like she still just wants to say stuff.
Yeah. Let's see. This is a furtherance of what she said. So maybe the details might be here, Joe. I'm also instructing the joint terrorism task forces across the country to disrupt and investigate all entities and individuals engaged in acts of terror, domestic terrorism. Charges against all participants in these crimes, mobs, include conspiracy offenses, assault offenses, civil disorder offenses, terrorism offenses, And it says here that I have directed the FBI, DEA, ATF, and USMS. What's that?
U.S. Marshal Service.
U.S. Marshal Service to accelerate our efforts alongside the Department of Homeland Security. So it sounds like to me like that when she says DOJ agents, she probably means a combination of those 4 agencies.
Most important statement she wrote in there was acts of violence and obstruction against federal agents. That's not exclusive to the ICE protests.
Right. Well, but specifically obstruction, that's like where they get in front of your vehicle, for instance,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Well, so the good and bad news there is that obstruction has been widened quite a bit over the course of, say, the past 20 or so years. And so we are going to find out just, one, how serious, and 2, how somewhat malicious they are going to be with this, because obstruction can mean basically anything that the cops want it to for the purpose of arresting you. Okay, they're not going to get a conviction, but they could throw you to cell.
Yeah. Lance Corporal Veteran for $10 says I was headquarters, and we all had experience in road going convoys and IDing IEDs and confiscating the bomb parts. It's not being outside the wire isn't exclusive to infantry. That's true. Yeah. I mean, so like I was.
I don't disagree with that. My point was, somebody said building IEDs and disabling them. Truck drivers do not disable IEDs, and neither do convoy ops. EOD does.
Yeah, I will admit that there was a shortage of EOD a lot of times, and the way people would disassemble IEDs without EOD usually had to do with a 50 caliber machine gun shooting at them from about 150 meters away. So yeah, I don't know how many times I shot bottles of water on the side of the road. I'm pretty sure it was an IED, but it was just fun. But yeah, he is right. I was an infantry officer, but I was a support platoon and HHC XO when I was in Iraq, and I was outside the wire quite a bit. And but I was out there with my truck drivers and my ammo handlers and my fuelers, and I also had infantry.
This may shock you all, but it's not only the military that operated outside the wire.
That's right.
It's true.
A lot of civilians out there too. A lot of dead civilians out there too, unfortunately. Yeah. All right, let's Watcher. There's you want to play some of these just to kind of give a little flavor here of some of the things that have been going on in Portland. Oh, this is the older one. This is the LA riots. These are the LA riots. So we don't need it. Portland is so we've got other ones from Portland that we can show here that are actually. Let me get to this. This is the one I kind of wanted to put in front of you guys because I thought there was at least some IQ points put into this, but I don't think that I honestly don't buy the arguments, but I wanted to see what you guys say. Can Trump actually designate Antifa a terror group? Here are the facts. All right. So first is what is Antifa? Basically, they've defined it as a violent protest culture of far left activists, and then it's diffuse and sometimes violent. The movement is associated with an aggressive form of protest that adheres to calls for direct action. Antifa is short for anti-fascist, and actually, anti-fascist action was the original group. And is most often used to reference activists and protesters who support more direct methods of confronting the far right. Researcher extremist movements at Open Measures said some who have self-labeled with the term have engaged in threatening or violent behaviors, but those individuals represent a small number of people who self-identify with the term. Is Antifa actually an organization? All right, guys, let's just I'll poll the thing and then I'll read what they have here. Joe, what do you think? Is it an organization or is it something different?
It's an organization of loosely aligned cells, so close enough, yes.
Yeah. Don, do you agree with that?
On the money, 100%.
And I know Watcher agrees with that.
Point out that open measures is associated with Bellingcat. I'm just laying that out there.
Yeah. It's definitely a left-wing group. Antifa is a label. They say no, it's not an organization. Antifa is a label for political subculture or protest style, which I don't agree with that. The phenomenon does not have a leader.
Is that style open violence in the streets, coordinated amongst various cells? Because yes, it is.
That's the style. Yes. An initiation. Let's see. Does not have a leader, initiation process, membership roles. A headquarters. That's not true. We saw an Antifa headquarters recently on video. Bank account or centralized structure. Let's see, American University professor, which I shouldn't listen to her just because she's an American University professor, studies domestic extremism and said Antifa was an idea that could mobilize people. She compared it to concepts or ideologies like white supremacy or Islamist extremism, as distinguished from separate groups like the Aryan Brotherhood or Al-Qaeda. There may be little groups organized around Antifa in a neighborhood or community that meet up. All right. So I think we all kind of disagree with this.
Even if we take your BS assessment at face value, ISIS is a group of people who engage in violence based around Islam.
Right.
Right.
What you just said is they're terrorists.
Let's see. What did Trump say? He said, "I'm pleased to inform." Okay, so we've already heard that before. Can the U.S. designate domestic groups as terrorists? The short answer is no. Federal law empowers the executive branch to deem overseas groups. You're right. This is why we were arguing last week that he should call them a foreign terrorist organization, because there's actually some teeth there. And it's harder to do against domestic groups. The law gives such groups due process rights to hearings and challenge of designation. If the designation stands, the status allows the government to freeze such groups' assets, makes it a crime to provide material support for them.
I got to interrupt you. They just said that it wasn't a group, but then also said the group has been denied its due process.
No,
these things cannot be true.
No, they're saying that federal law empowers the executive branch to deem overseas groups foreign terrorist organizations. The law gives such groups a due process right to hearings. So basically referring to anybody who is a foreign terror group. And then it says there's no equivalent domestic terrorism law, noted Mary McCord. Trump can declare whatever he wants to declare, but there's no legal authority to actually designate a domestic group as a terrorist organization, even assuming the Antifa is an organization and not just an ideology. This means declaring this has no legal impact. So bottom line is they're basically trying to say that it doesn't matter what he says because A, it's not a group, and B, he's got no legal basis to go after them as a domestic terrorist group. I mean, what do you guys think on that? That's pretty. I think that's pretty. That's what they're saying.
So they can say whatever they want, and let me go back to a document that we were discussing at the beginning of the show. DHS, Department of Homeland Security, Office of Intelligence and Analysis, Right-Wing Extremism Report, March 2009. Look, man, if you didn't want it being done, you shouldn't have done it. That's how this works, right? That's the screaming that you all throw at us anytime the right is going to do anything. Now, we can have an argument about whether or not we should be doing this, but that we can do it, we know we can, because we've been doing it for 15 years, just not against them.
It's pretty rich to say that this goes against the constitutional rights or whatever. Let's see. I'm just kind of go. Would the Constitution allow this? In a 2010 case, the Supreme Court upheld the prosecution of a charity for steering funds to designated foreign terrorist organizations. They distinguished this matter from sending funds to a domestic organization. Hypothetically, attempts to criminalize support for designated terror groups under different circumstances might not survive the First Amendment scrutiny. We also do not suggest that Congress would extend the same prohibition on material support at issue here to domestic organizations. Because the First Amendment concerns, the FBI has carried out what effectively domestic terrorism, exactly what you were just talking about, Don, has effectively carried out a domestic terror investigations into neo-Nazi organizations like the Base and Atomwaffen Division. It has treated them instead as criminal enterprises. I mean, that might be the better way to go with Antifa, the whole criminal enterprises, because then that opens them to RICO and you can go after the money. And I think going after the money is way more effective than going after some, stupid 85 IQ purple-haired cunt with her septum pierced.
So the correct answer to this is indeed RICO charges, which is why so many of us have been saying that for so long, right?
Yeah.
You can't quite do whatever you want once you lay RICO charges, but it's kind of close. It's basically any tie between these groups of people, right? This was all established under the mafia in the 70s, right? What all of the precedent, right?
Yeah.
And man, there's a lot of leeway for the government, like it or not. And make no mistake, I don't. They do terrible things with this on occasion, which is to say almost every time they pick it up and use it. But look, if this was okay for 50 years, when it gets pointed at you, you don't get to say, well, maybe not now, right? And I know any number of them are happy to say, but we didn't like RICO when it was being used against the Crips or the Bloods or whatever. But when it was used against everybody else, you were fine with it, right?
Yeah.
And all of the times where we could have shut this down, nobody wanted to hear it. Well, guess what? Finally, the day has come where if you do this, then someone else will do it back to you is here.
Yeah.
Let me point out, too, that they sang a very different tune in relation to the Proud Boys. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They wanted the Proud Boys to be designated as a terrorist group, and they were all about smashing it with government power, and they did.
Which let's remind ourselves what the Proud Boys were, just briefly, like how fucking utterly inane this whole bullshit was. They were a group started by Gavin McInnes who were proud of being boys.
It was basically a fraternity.
It was a fraternity you didn't have to go to college to join. In order to join, somebody had to hold you down and play the Name 10 Candy Bars game.
Cereal.
It's not even a joke. Like, I wasn't a member, but that was legitimately how you joined.
Yeah.
I got a fucking mosquito just keeps buzzing around me. Yeah, I mean, so this just kind of goes to show how ridiculous this whole thing is. Yes, they can go after. I mean, here's the great thing about criminal organizations and RICO is that you don't need to prove that an actual physical structured group exists, because it's all about individual conspiracies tied to specific acts and events. And whether you think they're a group or not, they're definitely doing acts and they're definitely doing events, and they definitely got money, and they definitely have a loose structure that is internal to local chapters that is connected to other chapters. And because of that, you would be able to put together the wire diagram and then RICO the whole fucking thing.
That's already happened, right? Back 15 years ago now, somebody started. Well, any number of people have put together org maps of Antifa. That's how we know that they're full of shit.
Right.
Well, I will introduce that I agree with you that if that's the best legal framework to go through for U.S. citizens, great. I'm going to point out that a substantially large percentage of Antifa's membership, even here in the States, is Canadian, illegal immigrants, South American, and students here on student visas. That portion of it should be pursued as international terrorism.
Yeah, well, and this overlooks the group of them that went out to Syria to fight.
You can't even name how many because they've been in like 6 now. Syria, Ukraine.
Exactly right. Well, so Syria in particular because we
Oh,
openly
because they
had
were
forces
fighting
on
for
the ground.
terrorists. Yeah.
Exactly, and they were fighting against the United States.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
pointed this out. The dudes who went and did that, they're still walking around right now, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, crock up broccoli, because terrorist organizations are inherently criminal
Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally, yeah.
by definition.
Let's look at some of the stuff that's been going on in Portland. We got a couple of links here.
But before we move to Portland, I got to earn our
Yeah.
Mossad Monday money real quick. Netanyahu just arrived at the White House. I mostly cared because the Marine Corps dressed blues, but
Yeah.
there you go.
Apparently, somebody's getting their orders. I'm not going to tell you which one it is or from whom.
Sorry, I had to earn that Mossad Monday money.
I know. I'm with you
important.
there, brother. As long as the check clears, I'm good with it.
Well, he's delivering checks, that's for sure.
All
so we
right,
got
let's check
Portland
out the.
footage here.
Yeah. So, Joe, I'm noticing a more aggressive stance in recent days.
But by the
Yeah,
way,
they
the music the uploader chose for this that I'm not going to play on the stream is Thunderstruck.
Oh, the thing that I've liked what I've seen of these videos is they've definitely identifying key personnel, and then they're probably getting what they do on video, and then they're cutting them out of the herd. Because they've got a specific event that they did, something like striking an officer or something very specific that they did. They don't just kind of like, oh well, I don't like the way you look, I'm going to grab you and I'm going to hold you down and I'm going to arrest you, right? There's usually very specific stuff that they are.
There's a major tactical difference here that if you haven't spent a bunch of time in protests around Antifa, you might not notice, which is to say it used to be they would do that, right? Like, so when that guy got stabbed in DC about 6 feet from me, the cops basically tackled that one guy. They make a little circle around him and they slowly move him out of the crowd. And Antifa will call it kettling. I don't know if the cops call it that. I don't really care.
Kettling, I thought, was where they get like whole big groups of people and then arrest a real large group, everybody in the.
So,
but Antifa uses retards and they use the same language for everything.
Yeah. And I don't really care about that differentiation. However, the thing that is different here is while they are still going after whoever it is that is the problem, they're dumping 8 gallons of tear gas and rolling with batons. It is not, hey, we're going to put 6 guys in the middle of this riot to arrest one dude. It's all right, everybody out. We're here for that guy. And it is a substantial posture difference.
What I'm curious about and what will matter is, are they being charged federally or are they being charged locally?
Yeah, my understanding is the whole point of this, when they detain them and drag them in, is they actually it's supposed to be federal charges because that actually has some teeth, whereas the locals aren't even charging them.
Yes, they've been turfing them for 5 years now.
Yeah, welcome to how malicious those games are, right? Because the locals will charge them to get the feds off of whoever it is.
Yeah.
They will release them on own recognizance, tell them they have a court date in 6 years, and then cancel the court date.
You're right.
In Portland, they're being charged federally. Oh, thank God. Yeah, so what I've seen is that they have kind of a basic shield line, and then somebody probably up on the rooftop makes it like spots one of the controllers, is what it seems like, one of the crowd controllers, designates them, and then a strike force moves out. And once the strike force moves out, the whole team moves up and engages very heavy-handedly. They grab that individual and then yank them inside.
Yeah.
Which is basically what should have been being done for, 6,
Yeah.
7 years now.
Right. A decade at least.
Yeah. Stormy's all over this. She kind of points out that Katie Davis court on X has been on the ground for months, recording them and following their court cases. Yeah, I love how they just kind of like manhandle these guys. Like,
well, carrying them like the limp sacks of shit they are.
Yeah.
And Stormy, who I know has a friend in ICE, says, I have it on good authority. As soon as the goons are arrested, they immediately start crying. I like that.
Oh man,
That's
been true for
I have
years.
heard that. Yeah, I've heard that multiple times. In fact, if I remember correctly, during the 2020 era, there had to have been somebody inside the jail system who was on our side of the fence, because we actually got recordings of some of the audio recordings of some of them in their cells fucking sobbing.
Yeah.
All right. Is that the last of the videos?
I mean, I'm just doing
Just
a
going
generalized
through.
Google search
Yeah.
at the moment, so I'll pull up as many more as you want. But no, that's not the last one of your videos. I think you had one more linked here.
Well, I had two black
I gotta
guys
look at the
encountering the Antifa crowd.
Yeah, that was these two. Let me pull that up. Let me get audio for that one too.
Yeah, I thought this.
I guess we can't have audio.
Well, I know. At one point he's yelling at these guys.
Well. So Antifa does this on purpose, and hold on, let's get a clip, and hopefully nobody's playing music here. But they do this on purpose, and they've talked about it for a long time. They used to use Disney music specifically because they knew Disney was one of the most litigious, but they'll play artists from groups that they know are extremely litigious in order to try and count on the copyright system to take down videos taken at the protest.
Yeah. The Donald Trump song from his first administration. If you went to a protest, that was constantly playing because that guy in particular was taking down streams with that on it, intentionally.
Well, my understanding is the way the copyright's supposed to work is that, if it's being played in the background at an event.
Supposed to and actually are two very different things.
Yeah.
All right, so here was that combo.
Around town. Don't come out every night. They're bitches. Yeah.
So what made you want to come out here to make them
Because I seen a female here, and she was being surrounded by all these people.
Hey, I got a job right here. I work at Taco Bell. Okay. Yeah. I work at Taco Bell. I just got off.
Hey, I respect that. Who else has a job?
I love it. My man's literally out there preaching to these skinny hippies to get a job.
Who's got a job?
You ever see that whole crowd? They only found one other person who had a job.
Well, it was the other black guy. There was another video where that same other black guy, the guy in the black, he was wearing all black, and he starts doing like finger guns at the cops. I was like, boy, that is a really good way to get something more than a pepper ball. That guy was in the other guy's face, and so they attacked him. They kind of cut this other black guy away from, and I think he's probably he's either covering it or something. Yeah, see, they're attacking him, just straight up attacking him.
That's a felony assault right there.
And there's the other black guy with the job.
So I know this guy that has some experience with Antifa and riots and being felony assaulted and what the cops will or will not do about it.
And look, they're not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
Oh, but especially Portland police.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
they don't give a damn.
They would arrest that guy for being there causing, you caused them to attack you because you.
Well, literally, and they
tell
themselves.
Why did you make them attack you?
Literally, and they'd tell themselves they were doing a good thing when they got home by saying, "Well, but we got that guy out of there, so he didn't get killed."
By the way, they've got the American flag flying lower than the Mexican flag, which is a violation.
And upside down.
And upside down.
Yeah.
Speaking of
all
which,
right.
apparently I need to go reverse a bunch of flags all over the world.
Gentlemen, anything more about the Portland protest you wanted to bring up? I get the feeling that the temperature is going to change quite a bit once the National Guard shows up, but they're Oregon National Guard, so who knows? Yeah, this is where the guy's using the finger gun. I mean, this is the kind of thing like if the light's not good, that guy gets shot.
Yeah, as he should. Yeah.
Yeah, his
like
hand was
attempted suicide by
extended.
cop to me.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what that looked like.
Oh yeah, I guess we should talk about Ice Cube's tour bus.
Yeah.
Only
Is
thing
that
I
really his
wanna
tour
say-
bus? I heard it was not his
It
tour
is.
bus.
Well, it is. So here's the deal. It was his tour bus, but here's the deal. People are like, oh, they just saw Ice and thought it was no. The left have thought that Ice Cube is a Trump fan for a very long time. They've been very vocal about hating the man. They've attacked him on several occasions. This is not the first time.
All right, gentlemen, let's go around the horn. Joe, looking towards this week, we got a long week ahead of us. And where do you think the world goes in the next 5 days?
Continued spiraling events of tit for tat violence from the left and the right. But I've been saying that for a while.
It's been you've been right for a while.
Yeah. Did you see the thing that they put up yesterday and tagged you both in with me and we're already in the collapse thing? Reverend Hazmat put it out. Hold on. Let me just find it for you because it's relevant. We should show it on the show. Rev has. I will share it here in just a second. Oh, it was a reply to something, so I guess I can't see it right away. Never
Hold on
mind.
a second. I'll just drop it in the CFC chat.
Oh, you already got it?
Oh, I got it. Hold on. Share. Screen right there. Nope, not that one. That one. No, it's still not it. Never mind.
Check the CFC chat.
All right. I can't check the chat.
We're already in the collapse. It's the Johnny Carson image.
Yeah. It was a good one. I thought it was apt. I chuckled. It was very funny.
Watcher, can you get this from the CFC chat? Yeah.
Oh, I was muted. Shoot.
That is a classic one.
Yes, we are already in the collapse.
Yep.
What did Johnny Carson call this bit? The Great
Down Moody.
Yeah, something like that. Santini, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember. I'm sure somebody in the chat remembers.
Man, I couldn't remember Corey Feldman like an hour ago, so I'm not even going to try.
Yeah. The Great Karnak. That's right. Matt Grizzly's got it. See, Don, what about you? What are you looking? Like I said, we got a lot of stuff going on this week.
Joe's right. We'll probably see what is traditionally the leftist game. The beginning of the week, slow down. Slow down is not stop, but slow down. And then by the end of the week, Thursday is the notorious day of crank it up to 100. Things will go right on back to being on fire everywhere. At least if their patterns for the past, I don't know, decade or so hold true. The somewhat lower intensity stuff will probably happen between now and Thursday, but by the time that the beginning of the 4-day weekend, which is the weekend for everybody without a job, starts to roll in, mayhem will ensue.
Very good. Watcher?
No, the same observation. We appear to be entering the same sort of. I just want to back up what Don said with a little bit of why that happens. The actual revolutionary communists don't have a job. The foot soldiers often do, which is why they basically agitate in the group chat all week while everybody's actually working their day job, and then get them out ready to go on the weekends, mad enough that they want to spend their extra free time going out and destroying whatever target the communists point them at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to echo Joe, but we're now in the world of multiple terrorist attacks every week. So just expect it. The warnings that Joe and myself and Don and Watcher and like all of us have been saying for a long time, but recently are in effect. You need to be aware. You need to have your eyes on a swivel. You need to, you need to be caring if you can, probably even if you can't. And you need to avoid areas that are trouble. Don't go looking for trouble. I mean, it's going to find you, God forbid. So don't increase the odds. I mean, yeah, maybe you have to go some places because of, family or business or whatever. Go in, do your business, get the fuck out. Don't go and look for opportunities to put yourself at risk. Because it's just not worth it.
Well, real quick, I just want to clarify something. Pete Camsterity asks, the winter of the summer of love? No. You miss what we're saying. The cycle will be the same as in the weekly cycle. The activity has accelerated far past the summer of love. You're not going to see those type of mass riots again. The people who have been activated are not the we're going to go out and talk peacefully. That's all over. All of that's over on all sides. The people who were those people back in 2020 are now the people who've been taking training classes from Antifa on how to kill their neighbors for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And by the way, as society degrades, you just have a lot of opportunists that who are not politically motivated, but will be more than happy to take the opportunity to be violent for personal gain and or settling scores and crossfire. It doesn't matter if they're shooting at you or through you. If you're in the way of the bullets, you will stop the bullets.
Yeah, and to better illustrate something I was trying to say before the show, that don't take it for granted that some of these people are literally just crazy, but that doesn't mean that it's not related. The people who are crazy are kind of sitting on the margins of society. They're generally having a hard time scraping by as it is. And as pressure ratchets up in society, they generally start to lose various different support structures and that kind of stuff, which causes them to spiral downwards, right? It's all one thing.
Good point. All right, guys, that's all I got for today. Thank you for being here. Don, nice for you to join us. Joe, Watcher, thank you guys as always. Chat, you guys kept it lively. Thank you very much. And even Stormy showed up for the last, about the hour. That's a rarity. All right, we will be back on Wednesday. More of the same, same time, same channel. If you haven't done it already, please like the channel, subscribe to the program, hit the bell for notifications if you can, and as always, stay safe.